Hi guys, welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. This is Vinyasa Flow from head to toe, and we're going to be working on opening the front body today. So we'll do some kind of hip extension and some heart opening, shoulder opening, and legs, well, just from head to toe pretty much. So you might need a block and a strap. If you don't have a strap, you can use like a sock or a scarf, but if you don't have any of those things lying around, then don't worry about it. You can do the poses without any props at all. So even if you don't have a block, you don't necessarily need one. So other than that, you just need your mat and water if you need it, and let's get started. So we'll come onto the mat, starting in Sukhasana in cross-legged position. So go ahead and sit on your block if you are used to sitting on a block or bolster or towel. If you feel like this, if your posture is like this immediately, then prop up your hips just to kind of get used to sitting upright and getting your spine nice and lengthened. So if you're not used to this, your hips will immediately feel like your knees are pulling up to your chest. So if you want to, you can kind of rock around from side to side first, and then just get settled. Bring your hands onto the knees with your palms facing down or palms facing up, and roll the shoulders up to the ears and pull them down and back. Two more. Inhale, exhale, and then exhale. Okay, and just hold there for a moment. Take deep breaths in. Just think about lifting up through the spine, dropping the arms down, shoulders heavy, chin just slightly tucked in towards the chest. Take another deep breath in and deep breath out. Bringing a little bit more movement here, so we'll begin a circle motion, rock forward and then pull back into your sit bones. Inhale forward and then exhale back. And here you can just bring some motion into your shoulders here, so you're rolling them up towards the ears, rolling them around, just getting a little more mobile there. Switch the direction. Inhale forward, exhale back. And then back to center. And then we're just going side to side and keeping the hands onto the knees, just kind of keep the weight down there and the knees kind of dropping down to the floor, getting a little bit of a side stretch. Go to the left side, leaning to the left, and just press gently into the right inner knee thigh. Just getting the stretch into the side of the body there, and then go to the other side. Going to the right side, pressing into that inner left knee. And then back to center. Switch the cross in your legs. And then we'll begin a twist. So we're going to reach up both arms, and then let's twist to the right. So left hand onto the right knee and look over your right shoulder. Try to lift up as tall as possible in your posture, lifting up through the crown of the head. Pulling the shoulder back and release. Sweep up with both arms, inhale, and then exhale to the other side. Looking over the shoulder, again lifting up tall. And then releasing. Okay, hands back behind you and lift your heart. So you're drawing your shoulder blades together behind you. You can drop your head back if that feels okay on your neck. And releasing, coming forward. Walk your hands forward here and drop your head down. Feel free to move around, move from side to side. Here, just making a little bit of movement just to help release the back. And then slowly come up. Okay, and we'll just do some gentle neck stretches. So hands back onto the knees, palms face up or palms face down. Drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And try to keep your shoulders dropping down as well. Breathing deep. You can part the mouth here, especially if your jaw is super tight. Then just take a little part into the mouth so that you can help release that whole side of the neck as well, jaw. And now we're going to drop the nose down towards the armpit. So point your nose down towards your right armpit. And then now bring the chin in towards the chest. Keep the shoulders pulling down. And then look up. Okay, not a huge extension here, but looking up, but not tipping your head all the way back in to extending the neck. Just still you feel the stretch into the throat, front of the throat there. And then back head over your spine, again neutral. And then drop your left ear to your left shoulder. And again, just being mindful of keeping the shoulders dropping down and relaxed as possible. Breathing normally. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Okay, pointing the nose towards your left armpit, tilting down. Breathing still, just keep mindful of that. Now chin to the center of the chest. Shoulders dropping down. And then go ahead and look up. And just stop when you feel the stretch in the front of the throat there. And then release. Okay, so from here we're going to reverse the cross in the legs again. Reach up with both arms. Inhale, exhale, reach forward and bow. Walk over to your right side, reaching at an angle. Lift your left arm off the floor and then just kind of reach a little bit more. And then release it down, release your head down. One more, reaching, lifting, and then releasing down. Walk over to the center. And then over to the left side. And then we'll do that same thing. We're going to lift that right arm up. So just a foot or so off the floor, reaching for something and then releasing, head down, lifting up, breathing into that stretch and then releasing down. Walk back over to the center, walk up, take the hands back behind you and again, just open up the heart once more here, just drawing the shoulders back. If you'd like to, go ahead and lift the hips. So you're tucking the tailbone, squeezing the glutes, lifting the hips up off the ground. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and release down. Walk the hands forward, come into tabletop pose. Or you can spin around onto your side and come into tabletop pose. On all fours, hands underneath your shoulders and knees underneath your hips. Round the spine. Cat arch, and inhale, release the belly, lift the chin, chest forward, and draw your shoulders back. Exhale, round, and inhale, release. Keep moving at your own pace, moving with your breath. Exhaling, rounding, inhaling, extending the spine. Okay, and then coming back to neutral. Look over your right shoulder and come into an extension of the spine as well. So you're dropping the belly down and looking over your right shoulder. And then come back to center and then keep looking up, extension through the spine. And then look over to the left side, keep extension through the spine. And then dropping chin down and then rounding. And then looking over the right shoulder and extension through the spine. Picking up the pace a little bit, back to center. Still extension through the spine. Looking to the left side, extension through the spine. And then back into that cat position, head down, chin tucks in, rounding, pushing through the hands, rounding through the spine. One more barrel roll, going that same side over to the right side. Look over to the right, drop the belly down. Look up, keeping the belly dropping down. Look left, keeping the belly dropping down. And then tuck the chin in and round the spine. Okay, back into cat or cow, and then cat one more time. Cow and cat. All right, back to neutral spine. Lift your right leg back behind you. Lift your left arm forward. Come to bird dog. Bring the left hand to the floor, sweep your right leg to the right toes pointing forward, and lift your right arm up to the sky. Bring your right hand down to the floor. Roll up, come up to gate pose, reaching up. I'm just going to spin around here. Reaching up with both arms, drop your right arm down to the right leg. Breathing into that left side of the body. Don't feel like you need to push and get down and touch that foot or anything. You're just stopping when you feel the stretch on that left side of the body. Trying to think about posture, tailbone dropping down. Okay, and then we're going to release out of that side bend and then turn your shoulders so you're facing your right side and then reach down towards your foot. So if you can, reach to the outer edge of that foot. You're just pressing a little bit onto the edge of the foot to feel the stretch of the outer ankle there. Walking off and then to the center, coming back to the mat, and then walking forward into puppy pose, a variation of puppy pose. So keeping your legs where they are, but reaching and extending through the arms, sides of the body. Keeping that right leg engaged, hips pulling back, and pushing into the floor with the hands. Keep the hips pulling back, dropping the chest down to the floor. Maybe the head rests on the floor, maybe it hovers just above. And rising back up, walk your hands back underneath your shoulders and then lift your right leg back behind you. Turn your right shin off to the right and then open up to the side. So I'm just going to spin around this way. So in a variation of side plank position. Okay, bend into your right knee. Catch the top of your right foot with your right hand. You can grab right onto your ankle. Rolling that right shoulder back here. One more breath, inhale, and then exhale. So we're going to release and come back onto the mat and cow-cat. So rounding through the spine, inhale, back to cow, exhale, cat, and inhale. Okay, switching sides here. So the left leg and the right arm are going to reach out, finding bird dog. One more breath here. Plant your right hand to the floor, swing the left leg out to the left right away. That left arm is reaching up and you're opening. Breathing deep, pulling that shoulder back. And then release that hand down to the floor. Come on up, reach up. Let's go to gate pose. Drop your left arm down to your left leg and breathe. Breathe in that right side of the body. And again, you're just trying to keep that tall posture, but you're also kind of really pushing your right side out to the right to enhance that stretch. And slowly release. Okay, and that variation of puppy pose is next. So your hands to the floor and then keep on walking. Walking down, reaching forward and dropping down. So maybe the head again touches the floor. Keep breathing here. And then come on back up. Reaching up. Inhale. Face towards your left leg and then come down, reaching towards the foot. One more breath and release. Walk back to the mat, hands underneath your shoulders, and then lift that left leg back behind you, and then swing the right shin off to the right, and then open up for that side plank variation here. So left leg lifted, left arm lifted, and your right leg is acting like a kickstand, so you're balancing like that. Bend into the knee. So this could be where you're staying and just bending into the knee, kind of opening up that way, and you can pull that shoulder back. If you can, then you're reaching back and grabbing the top of your foot, ankle, and you're making that bind there. Rolling the left shoulder back. Breathing into the belly. Just keep enhancing that extension through the spine. Drawing the heel towards your glute there on that left side. Kind of pushing your foot into your hand, pulling your foot with your hand, and then releasing out. So come around, back to that tabletop position, round the spine, release the spine, neutral spine, down dog. Walk the hands forward, tuck toes, and lift your hips. Okay, so walking it out. Fingers spread nice and wide on your mat. Look forward at the hands and then step up to them. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up all the way, reaching up to the ceiling. And then exhale, hands at the heart, releasing and sweeping up again. Deep breath in. Bring the hands to your heart, clasp your fingers, press down, lift the arms. Exhale, release the hands back behind you, clasping behind you. Pull back, inhale, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, arms reach up, and repeat. Exhale, clasp and press. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, release back. Inhale, pull back. Exhale, bowing forward. Inhale, rising up. Breathe up, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, bow forward. And inhale, rise up all the way. Reaching up. Exhale. Okay, so clasping, pressing, reaching up. Side bend to the right side. With your hands pressing up there, palms pressing up. Reaching your left hip out to the left. Come back to center. And then go to the other side. Try to stay tall, legs engaged, lifting kneecaps. Reaching through your arms. And then come back to center and then release all the way down. Fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the floor and step your right foot back. Drop your right knee down to the ground. Reach up, Just one breath here in crescent lunge, and then hands to the floor, step back. Into plank pose, lower through chaturanga, 3 or 4 legged, and then lifting into up dog or cobra. Come onto the floor, hands underneath your shoulders, roll your shoulder blades, keep rolling. So forward with your shoulders and squeeze down and back. One more, roll, and then hold that back. So squeezing your shoulder blades down to your back pockets and together to the center of your spine, and then lift. Inhale, exhale, release. Inhale, lift, keep squeezing back through the shoulders, and then exhale down. One more time, lifting, holding, 5, 4, 3, tops of the feet pressing to the floor, and release down. Okay, push up to the hands and knees there, and then back into down dog. So tuck your toes from there, and then come back into downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, lift your left knee down to the floor, and then reaching up with both arms. Exhale, hands to the floor, step forward to the top. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold, and then inhale, rise up all the way. Bring it all the way down again. Exhale, inhale, halfway. Exhale, hands to the floor, step left foot back, left knee down to the floor. Arms reach up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back into plank pose, 3 or 4 legged chaturanga. Begin to up dog or cobra. Bring the chest back onto the floor, belly onto the floor. Roll, squeeze, and lift this time. Release down. Roll, squeeze, inhale, lift, exhale. Roll, so exaggerate that shoulder roll, and as you squeeze back, you're lifting. Keep going. And last one, roll, squeeze, lift, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And release down. Press up to the hands and knees, and then back into downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, right knee down, arms reach up, exhale, hands to the floor. Step forward to the top, halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold, and then inhale, rise up all the way. Exhale, arms down by the sides. So go ahead and grab your strap or your sock or your scarf, and we'll just open up the shoulders a little bit here. If you don't have the strap, I'll just show you what to do in a moment. If you do have a strap of some sort, anything at all, you're holding on to the strap just in front of you. Doesn't have to look perfect or anything. It's about just a wider than shoulder distance apart, and you're just having an overhand grip on your strap or scarf. Okay, so we're going up and then down. So basically you are doing the same thing without the strap. You were just going up and down, and the same overhand grip. Pretend, okay? Overhand grip, lifting up, bringing it down. Okay, it's not gonna do the exact same thing, but it's gonna get your shoulders, same thing, kind of used to that extension, and just bring a little bit more extension into the spine. Okay, and then we're just going to hold at the top. Deep breath in. So the good thing about, with the strap, you can do this pull motion here. So you're pulling that strap apart and retract your shoulder blades down. And that's what makes holding onto the strap that much more effective. Again, you can do that without the strap, but you won't be able to kind of pull and feel that kind of resistance in the tops of the shoulders as much. With your arms overhead, everybody, we're going over to the right side. So just reaching. And again, just try to hold up, keep reaching up through your arms as much as you can, and then come back to center, and then go over to the left side. Breathing deep. And with that strap, you're still pulling apart, and then releasing down. Okay, releasing the arms down in front of you, then take the strap back behind you. So you're holding onto your strap a little bit closer, so not quite the hands touching each other, just about 3 inches apart from each other. And then again, that pulling action happening. So you're trying to pull that strap in half. Okay, if you do not have the strap, you are just doing this simple clasp behind you. So clasping your fingers together behind you. So go ahead and keep pulling, and then look up. Pull the arms away from your body, from your back body, look up. Legs engaged, so that means your kneecaps are lifting here. Okay, and now going forward. Feet are just shoulder distance or hip distance apart here. And then rising up. And then walking your feet wider. As wide as your mat. So wider stance. And then pulling the arms back again. A little bit of an extension through the spine. Doesn't have to be a huge extension. Just enough so that you feel like your heart is really lifting up towards the ceiling. Okay, go all the way down. Keep lifting. Lifting through the arms as fast as you can. Breathing. Take another deep breath in and out. And then pull up. All right, release the strap, release your clasp if you have no strap, and then take the arms up overhead. Taking, those feet are still hip distance or wider, as wide as your mat, distance apart. Take your right arm down to your right leg. Left arm overhead, so wider stance. And then over to the other side. So left arm down to the left leg and right arm. All right, and then taking your arm back, hands onto your hips, and then coming forward just halfway. So pull the hips back, try not to round the spine, just lift your chest way forward, pull the hips way back. Think about pulling the thigh bones way back. Again, you're not rounding, you're not going beyond your hips, you're just lifting forward. So think of keeping a straight back as best as you can. 90 degree as best as you can. One more breath, keep those hips pulling back, and then releasing forward fold. Okay, move from left to right side. All right, and then back to center, stepping your feet a little bit closer together. Take a halfway lift, inhale, exhale, hands to the floor, and step your right foot back, drop your right knee down to the ground. Reach up, and let's twist to the left side. Take your right arm forward and your left arm back, reaching through the arms. Left hand to the back of the right knee or thigh. Doesn't have to be down to the knee. It can be just touching just below your glute if you want to. And then you're leaning back, maybe looking over the shoulder if you feel comfortable enough in your back bend. So you're looking up at the ceiling and lifting with that right side of the body. So reach up with your right arm. Leading with your right arm, or coming out of that pose and lifting with your right arm and your heart coming all the way down, planting your right hand to the floor and then lifting your left arm up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and lift your right knee up off the floor and squeeze your right leg straight. Reach through the heel, squeeze your right glute. Bring your left hand to the floor, drop your right knee back onto the floor, straighten through the left leg, and keep the foot onto the floor. Place the left hand on the top of the foot. Okay, here's stretching through the front part of the foot. Ankle, shin. So pulling the hips back enough so that you can feel it. And just when you do feel it, just stop and enjoy that sensation. Breathe through it. Make sure you're taking some long, deep breaths out. Keep your hand there, just adding that little bit of weight. So left hand is pushing the toes down into point of flexion there. So toes are on the floor. then just kind of lean forward into the hips a little bit, and then relax that. Come back into plank pose. From plank pose, we're going to go into grasshopper pose. So drop the knees down, and then the chest and chin come down to the floor. So elbows pull into the sides. Low belly is off the floor. Squeeze your elbows into your sides as best as you can. So this is traditionally a transition pose, hatha, and we're just going to hold a little bit of extension through the upper spine here. And then we're going to release. So we're going to come forward so that the belly's onto the floor and the chest just slides forward so that your hands are underneath your shoulders now. Untuck your toes, lift up, inhale, and then exhale down. Reach your arms forward, palms facing down, and lift your arms. Chest is lifted, head is lifted. Reach through your arms as best as you can. Hands floating, still an extension through the upper spine. Feet are still onto the floor. Point your toes down so that your feet can stick onto the floor. Draw your elbows back and squeeze back. Hold that. Keep breathing, one more breath. And releasing down. Hands onto the floor. Push up to the hands and knees, and then back into downward facing dog. Tuck toes and back, walking it up. All right, so step your right foot forward, bring the left knee down to the floor, reach up with both arms, and twist to the right side. Left arm forward and right arm back. Reaching through those arms here. Okay, taking the left hand or right hand to the back of the left leg. And again, you can tip back, you can just look over your right shoulder if you wish, or look up at the ceiling. Breathing deep as best as you can here. Keep that breath happening. Let that go and lead with the left hand. Plant the left hand to the floor. Lift your right arm up, and then lift your left knee up and squeeze the left leg straight. Pull the shoulder back. Reaching through that back heel. All right, right hand to the floor. Back knee back onto the floor. Straighten through your right leg. Pull the hips back. Place your right hand on top of the right foot. Keep your foot in. Point of flexion and toes are sealed onto the floor. And you're just pulling the hips back enough so that you can feel the stretch in the top of the foot, front of the shin. Feel that in the hamstrings as well, of course. I really want to just kind of target that foot mostly. Top foot, ankle. Breathing into that stretch. One more breath. And release. Okay, come forward. Again, we're just going to drop into lunge. Just kind of be heavy into those hips. Breathe into that stretch. And then back away. Come all the way back into plank pose. In plank pose, we're going to go into side plank pose. We're going to go to the right side, holding there. So side plank, you can stack the feet. You can go to scissor if you want to, or a tree. Reaching up to the arm, holding for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then over to the other side. Dropping a knee, by the way, you can drop that bottom knee, by the way, for beginner. Engaging the core, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, come on back to plank pose, lower through chaturanga. Moving to up dog or cobra, and then come into child's pose. Bring the knees down to the floor, travel back, keep reaching back. into tabletop pose. Walk your hands towards your knees and reach up. Moving into camel pose. Variations of camel pose. So first reaching up, finding camel pose, and then start to engage your core and find a neutral pelvis as best as you can. So tailbone kind of dropping down, engaging your glutes, reaching up, and just kind of feel those muscles activate and fire up here before you go any further. Okay, let's go into it, taking the hands onto the low back. So if you want just a little back bend, then here's where you will stay. If you want deeper back bend, you are going into full camel. You can bring your hands down to your hamstrings, keep your shoulders pulling back, or down to your heels and reach that way. So you can also tuck your toes under and make your heels a little more available to you, a little bit higher. So keep holding here, opening up that chest, pressing your hips forward as best as you can, dropping the head back perhaps, but if you have neck issues, then your chin is a little bit closer towards your chest. One more breath. Okay, lifting up forward and breathing. Okay, taking the hands onto the floor, drop your forearms down to the floor, circle around, both directions. Okay, and then back to center, rising back up. Walk up onto the knees again, knees, shins, and then coming into half camel. So again, toes tucked under or untucked for this. Bring your right hand onto your heart, lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Okay, taking it back, just breathing, lifting up here. Breathe where your hand is, right hand on your heart, and then look over, start to twist to the right side, left side, and then look down to your left heel. Okay, if possible, tip back, reach the heel. Fingertips reaching to the heel, or you're down a little bit further, kind of grabbing on, hand is actually touching onto the heel. But you can also tuck the heel or the toes under, again, just to make that a little bit higher. Just kind of depends on how much of a back bend you want. Okay, so this is where you stay. You can stay here. You can turn around, face the ceiling again, reach up with your right arm to take it into that full position. Bring your hand back onto your heart, right hand onto your heart. Look over your left shoulder and then engage and come out of that position. Reach up with both arms, inhale, and then exhale. Hands down to the floor, walking forward. Drop the forearms down to the floor again. Circle around. Just trying to find a neutral spine, but moving the hips in just different directions, just to kind of release and keep the hips warm, and finding more and more space to enhance your back bend. So this is why we're doing this in between the camel poses. Okay, bringing the spine just back into neutral, and then coming back to center, walk up, and then coming up again. Okay, other side here, left hand onto the heart, and then the right hand comes back, and you can tuck your toes under for this. Coming back here, breathing into your hand where your heart is, and maybe taking that left arm up towards the ceiling. Keep the hips pressing forward. One more breath. And hand back onto the heart. Look over the right shoulder. Come out of that pose and then release the hands down to the floor. Walk forward again. Drop your forearms down to the floor. Move around in a circle motion. Around in the shoulder joints. Get the back moving. Get the hips moving around in a circle motion. Both directions, by the way. then back to center. Come on up to tabletop pose, tuck toes under, come up to downward facing dog, walk it out. On your inhale, lift your right leg back behind you, bend into the right knee, open up that hip. Release that right foot down to the floor, lift your left arm, left leg up, bend into the knee, open that side. And then release. Reach your right leg up again, bend into the knee, open up. Right, all the way stepping forward, we're coming into warrior one. Step up to the hands, drop your back heel down to the floor, right toes pointing forward, reach up with both arms here. Take it out to warrior two pose, reaching out with both arms. Your reverse warrior. And then back to warrior two pose. Straighten out through that front leg and come into Trikonasana. Reach forward with that right hand. Just hold that pose for a moment before you drop into your full pose. Reach through your back leg, your left leg like crazy here, and then drop down. So hand comes down to the shin, the foot or floor or block, and then you're holding on to your lower leg or block, but you're also not dumping all your weight down. So you want to stay lifted in your underside as much as possible. So that means you lift up through your top side here. So your left side, left rib cage, opening up to the right, left leg really engaged. One more breath. Okay, we're going to slowly come up. So engage, then come out, bend into the front knee, come into warrior two pose. Face forward into warrior one. Take the hands back behind you, clasping your fingers in humble warrior's neck. So open the chest, arms pull back, knuckles pull back, and then drop forward in the inside part of the right leg. So head just in the inner knee, maybe going down further if you're a little more flexible. Arms overhead, keep pulling up out of the shoulders. Legs strong. All right, and then slowly come back up. Reach up to the ceiling, inhale. Exhale, come forward, lean forward enough so that you can grab onto the floor, touch floor with your fingertips in front of your right foot. Go ahead and kick up fine, standing split. Okay, moving into half moon right away here. So the left arm's gonna lift. And maybe you're holding on to the block or the stem with the block here. So your block is about a block's distance in front of your right foot. So definitely not cheating if you have a block in this position, okay? It's not helping you with balance, it's helping you with alignment, if anything. You're still engaging the same core muscles, but you may be able to do it a little bit easier, especially if you are a little bit less flexible. So it's not a cheating tool having a block, but it definitely, if you don't have one, then don't worry about it too. You can also just touch the floor. You can use a water bottle as well. You don't have to use the yoga block. We're coming out of that pose by just bringing that left hand to the floor and then neutralizing the hips so that left hip drops down, and then you're stepping way back into that lunge. Drop your left knee down to the floor, come up into crescent lunge, and then we'll take a prayer twist. So hands to the heart, inhale, then exhale, twist to your right side. Left elbow comes down, and you can go to the high lunge version of the pose, drawing your thumbs to the center of your chest, squeezing your left leg back, pulling your shoulders down, and releasing out of that lunge. Bring the hands down to the floor. Okay, and then taking it back into dorsiflexion with your foot. So this time toes are pulling back, flexing your toes back so that they're pulling towards your knee. And you can go ahead and grab onto your toes to kind of force that flexion to happen, and you'll just stretch more of that fascia in the sole of your foot, but you also get a little bit deeper of a stretch in your calf as well. You feel that in your heel, hips coming back just to intensify that stretch, and you can also sit onto your heel as well. And I'd recommend that if you can, do sit back on your heel, because the stretch, you are stretching your hamstring, you're stretching your shin, your foot, your calf, but then on the other leg, you're getting a quad stretch as well, and you're stretching the fascia in your left foot as well by putting a lot of weight into your heel and putting that foot into flexion. So there's lots of things happening here. You're folding forward, you're getting a stretch into the spine as well. Okay, we're going to release out of that, so we're going to come forward, walk into lunge, step back into plank pose, lower through chaturanga. Up dog cobra, and then downward facing dog. 3 more times, and we're going to do that. Come forward, exhale down, inhale, exhale. 1 more time, come forward, exhale, inhale, up dog, exhale, down dog. All right, left leg lifts up, bend into the knee, and just open up that hip, step it forward, drop your back heel to the floor, reaching up to warrior 1, come out to warrior 2 pose, and then come back into reverse warrior. The back leg straight and strong, the front knee has the bend, so you can go deeper into your front knee, drop your hips a little bit more to intensify the lunge, and then coming back into a warrior 2, and then straighten out through the front leg and come into set up for Trikonasana. So reach forward with your arm, holding there, and then dropping the left hand down to your shin, your foot, or your floor. Reach up with your right arm, squeezing the right leg straight, lifting through your underside, which is your left side. Keep breathing into it, reaching up, still active through your right side of your body, but still breathing. And then slowly come out, bend back into your front knee to warrior 2 position, face forward into warrior 1 position. Take the hands back behind you to clasp your fingers, pull the knuckles back, squeeze your shoulder blades together, bow forward to humble warrior. Head dropping into the inside part of the left knee. Start to rise on up, reaching up with both arms, inhale, and then exhale, getting ready for standing split. So come forward, reach forward, lift off of that back foot, kick up with the back foot to standing split, and then when you're ready, lift that right hand off the ground. So reaching up to your ceiling or reaching hand onto the hip, reach through that right leg, reaching in all directions as best as you can. Using the block on your left side if that's what you want to do. All right, and closing it off, right hand down, right hip drops down, and then you're stepping straight back, dropping the to the ceiling here and take the hands to your heart. Inhale, then exhale, twist to your left side, right elbow onto the left knee. So again, feel free to stay here, straighten out through your right leg, and holding this position. Kind of breathe straight, breathe into your belly, breathe into your chest here as best as you can. Pulling the thumbs to the center of your chest. All right, we're gonna let go. Spin around, drop your back knee down to the floor, and then come into that half monkey split position, lifting the toes up. Grab onto the toes, pull them back, maybe sitting back onto your right heel here, and breathing into that stretch. Okay, a couple more breaths here. Alright, and then releasing, come on forward, back into lunge, step back into plank pose. Lower through chaturanga, up dog or cobra, and then come back all the way to downward facing dog. 2 more times, come forward, exhale, inhale. Back, roll forward. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, walking it out. All right, I'm going to fallen triangle next here. So we're going to point the point the left toes to the left here. And then we're just going to open up a little bit to the left here. We're going to take that right leg back behind and then kick it under to the left side. So you're twisting the legs here, so they're crossing the legs. Okay, but the left toes are pointing to the left and your right toes are also pointing to the right. So your hips at this point are twisted, and then you're going to let go of your left arm. And then we're going to open up. So it's basically a side plank, and then you can kind of open up the legs a little bit more, and then what you want to do is pull this bottom shoulder under, so you kick up that hip. So fallen triangle, and then maybe you can tip back even more and open up the chest. Close the chest first, and then unwind the legs. Kick your right leg up into the air, and then go over the leg this time. So right leg goes over the left leg. And then again, the legs are crossed. And then you take your right hand off the floor, and then you're in wild thing. So you can bend, keep your right knee bent if you want to, or you can go into that half upward facing bow position, or rock star position as it's referred to. Tucking the tailbone under if you are in that position. Kicking the hips up, dropping the head back. One of the best feeling poses out there as far as opening the body. All right, and then coming around slowly back into that plank position and lowering chaturanga, upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. Okay, so we're going to do the other side. Fingers spread nice and wide. Right toes pointing to the right, in down dog. Okay, and then take that left leg up, and then you're taking it under to the right. And you're kicking off of the mat, legs are crossed, and then you're letting go to open up. So that right arm coming way back, chest almost facing the ceiling. And then you're pulling that bottom shoulder up so you can kick your hip up as well. Legs are strong, engage, and then close the chest. And then unwind the leg, Left leg and can open up. Here's the flow, coming all the way around, over top of the right leg. To wild thing, where your left leg would be straight and your right knee's bent. Basically like a side plank position, or both knees facing and thighs facing the ceiling, and you're in the upward facing bow position, one arm. Using the strength of both legs to pop up the hips and send your whole front body into extension. Letting it go, so you're leading the direction with your left arm, coming all the way down, and then your legs come out. Come forward into plank, lower through chaturanga, upward facing dog, and let's take a rest. Come to child's pose. Bring the knees down and settle back. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Alright, so taking your time here, come on back up to tabletop position. Okay, so we're going to use a block. You can, I'm just going to demo with a block, but again, you don't have to have one. But we're going to go on the belly here, and we're going to place the block. It's going to be on top of the thigh, so it's pretty much going to be like this. So on the ground, right side first. And then just kind of down so that it's kind of just above your knee as well. So you're basically kind of propping yourself up like cobra position. And what we're going to do is just bend into the right knee. Okay, so here's where you can stay kind of lifted up, kind of cobra or sphinx position, holding that stretch. Or you can grab onto the foot, onto the right foot, top of the foot, ankle, and then drop down so head is onto the floor. And then you're pulling that heel in towards your seat. If you don't have the block, then you're just kind of doing the same, but you're not, again, you're just not elevated with the block, and that's fine too. You'll still get that quadricep opening, hip opening without the block. And we're holding for another 2 deep breaths in and out. And then releasing. So release your grip first, and then come onto the side, release your block, and then bring it around to the other side. So the block's just adding a little bit more intensity as and a less kind of the gripping action that happens here when you're holding onto your foot. So it's kind of giving your foot kind of, or your leg, your quadricep, something to push against, and also elevating it so that you don't have to pull extra hard, and you can kind of relax a little bit into the position. You can use a rolled up towel, by the way, to do this, even just a little bit of an elevation. Go ahead and try it at home if you want to. Ideally, you have your head kind of resting on the floor for this position, and you're drawing your heel in towards your seat. So remember to breathe deep here. Take another deep breath in and out. And go ahead and release that leg. Welcome to the side. Move that block out of the way. Hands underneath your shoulders, and then press up to tabletop pose. Walk your knees in, and then drop your, walk your hands forward and come into puppy pose. So we're just sinking down deep, reaching through the arms. Here's another position where you can elevate as well. You can use 1 or 2 blocks, and I'll just demo with that. Just elevating hands in puppy pose. So that would look like this. If you have 2 blocks, then you have 1 hand on each block, and then sinking down. So that would be really intense for you if you have tight lats and shoulders. You'll put a lot of extension into those shoulders as well, which might be good for just mobility in general. You can do this as well if you just have your hands, like say on a table, and then you can kind of sink through. So it just kind of gives your body weight something to sink further down than the floor. Just having your hands a little bit elevated, intensifying that stretch. All right, so we're going to slowly release out of that, and then walk your hands back underneath your shoulders again. Move the block out of the way. Okay, cow cat, rounding, releasing the spine. Okay, one more, exhale, and inhale, and then coming back to neutral spine. Okay, right arm reaches out to the right or up to the sky. Take your right arm underneath your left shoulder, left armpit there, and threading the needle here. So if you feel like balancing more, then you can take that left leg off the ground, kind of open the hip here. There's a little more, just adding a little more front body opening that way. You can, if you want a little bit more of an intense balance challenge, you got to really press into your right arm to do this, is take your left hand off the floor and then bind. So grabbing onto the top of the left foot with your left hand and holding that bind. Okay, pulling the heel in towards your bum if you've got that position dialed, and then letting everything go. So hands down, leg down, where we're at, and then come out of that position, and then we'll move to the other side. Take the left arm out to the left, reach up, and then thread the needle, left shoulder down to the floor, and then like I said, you can stay in this position. So this could be just a nice position to just hang out in, stretch the shoulders out, stretch the back out. But if you do feel like playing around with balance, lift the right leg, bend into the knee, kind of feel around, see how your balance is doing today. The left arm is sealed down to the floor, so push your left hand, forearm down to the floor if you are going to attempt the bind of this. Okay, letting it, leg, arm, foot, everything kind of go down and then back to neutral spine. Cow cat is next. Exhale, inhale. Okay, and then come back to neutral, or come up to downward facing dog, walk it out. Okay, and then, so next here we're going to come onto the knees and coming into hero's pose, and then go into Gomukhasana arms to open up the front body even more. So shoulders, hips. So hero's pose, sitting on your heels, grab a block, and you can just sit underneath. So lengthwise, it's just underneath your sit bones. You can sit like that, taking some pressure off of your knees if you feel like your knees, that's too much flexion to sit back on your knees, or double up the block, or you can turn the block around. If you don't have two blocks, turn around like this and just kind of balance sitting. Basically, just your sit bones need to be elevated a little bit just to relieve some of the pressure. If that's not an issue for you, then just go ahead and back into hero's pose, knees down, and you're sitting on to your heels. Okay, Gomukhasana arms. We're going to start with the right arm reaching up and the left arm just reaching down. So touch the floor with your left arm and reach up to the ceiling with your right arm. So you're just kind of feeling that opposing force. So left shoulder dropping, right shoulder elevating. Okay, now go ahead and bend into your right elbow. Place the right hand in the middle center of your back and just hold it there. And then place the left hand onto your right elbow. Kind of getting prepped for that stretch. That tricep reaching, extending, stretching out. And then when you're ready here, take that left arm, release it. It's coming down and around your low back, and you're catching the top, or catching your hands behind your back. So if clasping is not for you today, then go ahead and use your strap, your scarf, or your sock to hold. So you'd be holding the strap in with your top arm, and then it's bringing around, and then you can easily grab it behind your back. So easily grab it behind your back, and you don't have to force anything and kind of get out of breath just to try to make your bind work. So sometimes it's not worth it if your breath is sacrificed for the pose, most of the time. So just holding wherever you're at. I'm just going to keep demoing with the bind, or with the strap here. Breathing deep. Okay, take another deep breath in, and then a deep breath out, and then releasing your arms here. Okay, and then from here, we're just going to take the hands back and go into reclined hero's position. So just walking the hands back, both arms, both hands. Opening the chest, kind of pulling your shoulder blades together behind you. Breathing. Take another deep breath in. And then releasing. So come on forward, and then we'll do the other side. Left arm is going to reach up, and the right hand is just touching the floor. So just holding there, just getting your body used to that reach in the left side now, opening the left side, bend into the left elbow, hand in the back of the shoulder blades there, place the right hand on top of the elbow. Breathe into that stretch. You'll immediately feel that in your tricep. Breathe into it. So there's no rush in doing these poses here. So we're just getting you, if you just want to stay in this position because it feels awesome to stretch your tricep, then this is where you can stay. You don't have to do the bind. If you want to go further, then you're taking your bind, you're wrapping behind, and you're grabbing on to your left hand at the back. Okay, or like I said before, you're using the strap, you're using any prop you need to take to achieve your pose and kind of achieve. What's good about this pose is that right now your right shoulder is getting an external rotation while you're getting that tricep stretch and shoulder stretch on your left side. So there's lots of things happening while you're in this position. And of course you're trying to breathe, your legs are stretching out your quads and your shins at the same time, tops of the feet if you're in the hero's position. Go ahead and release from there and take your arms up, take your hands back. Again, coming back to reclined hero's pose. So go ahead and go back even further if you want to. Thunderbolt if you wish. So Thunderbolt, your knees would go a little bit wider so that your sit bones can sink down in between your heels. So heels end up on the outer edges of your hips there, and then you're releasing down as far as you want. Maybe lying down, but maybe not as well. So it depends on what you would like to achieve here. You can reach up above your head for this position as well, for your Thunderbolt position. Okay, full deep breaths in and out. One more. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Slowly start to come back up and then releasing forward and then spin around so that you are on your seat. All right, so we're going to come onto the back and just right onto the back here, bring the knees are bent and then the feet onto the floor. So we're going to take bridge position here, and you can take bridge by grabbing onto the edges of the mat. You could, or clasping your hands underneath your body, whatever you're used to doing. So when you are ready, you can go ahead and elevate your hips and press up. So squeezing the glutes, press your feet down to the floor, pull the shoulders back. So like I said, you can clasp your hands underneath and just kind of leverage your hips up even more, or you're holding onto the edges of the mat, and that just kind of creates a little more traction so that you can reach your knees forward while you're pulling the mat up. So you're kind of pulling it towards your upper body, and then you're reaching your knees away. That may offer a little more space for you to kind of lift up those hips a little bit more, getting into a deeper extension. And then you can release from there just very slowly. You get vertebrae by vertebrae and dropping all the way down to the floor eventually. Walk your feet as wide as your mat. Take your arms out to a T and just take a quick windshield wiper here. Letting the knees drop left and right. And then coming back to center and then taking the knees in towards your chest. So you can bring your head in towards your knees if you want to, or keep your head onto the floor. Rest your head onto the floor, just hold into your right knee. And extend that left leg down. So down towards the floor, extend through the heel as best as you can. If your low back lifts off the floor, then bend into your left knee and stay there. But squeeze your right knee nice and tight in towards your body. Just holding there, breathing deep into that stretch in the hip. Keep pushing away with your left heel. If you can straighten that left leg, then that's awesome. Keep reaching through the heel. All right, let's move into the twist. So releasing that grip a little bit, and then the knees floating above your hip. You're taking that right knee over to your left side, guiding it with your left hand. Try to bring it all the way down to the floor, as close as you can towards the floor. Another idea here, you can use your block if you want to. Just kind of using the block underneath your knee if you are here. So if you're just kind of floating just above the floor, double block or single block, and use something underneath your knee so that you can push down into it. So you use your left hand to push your knee into the block, and that'll just give you a little bit more of a stretch. So when you have kind of that hard surface to push into, you go a little bit deeper because your body kind of responds and saying, oh, I can relax now that I've hit some kind of hard surface. And then your body kind of just tricks your body into relaxing into that space. So with that said here, if your knee touches the floor easily, then just kind of stay down there. bring your right arm out to the right, reaching out and are opening up the body. So you feel this big stretch through the shoulders, low back. So taking your time here, slowly releasing out of that twist, head back to center, bring both knees in to your chest and give yourself a hug. Drop your head down to the floor. Hold onto your left knee with your hands and reach your right leg away. So squeeze the right leg straight if possible, or bend into your right knee. And holding and breathing. And now just letting your body sink down into the floor as fast as you can and relax in this position. All right, and then releasing there. Take the knee above your hip and then cross it over. So over to the right side. Left knee over to the right side, dropping down towards the floor. Your left arm reaching out to the left. You're turning your head to look over the shoulder as well. Making some space in your neck by doing slow motion head rock. So looking over your left shoulder, looking over your right shoulder. At this point, you're just making really small movements just to kind of feel where there is some tension that maybe kind of held unconsciously and you're just trying to work around. And same with your arm reaching out at different angles, just playing around with that new positioning and breathing as well. Taking long deep breaths in and out. Okay, so very slowly we're coming out of that twist. We're going to come back to center, bring the knees in so you're in happy baby pose. So holding onto the inner knees, shins, or grabbing onto the feet. And you're trying to drop the tailbone down as best as you can. You rock it from side to side. Alright, and then back onto the floor with your feet. Windshield wipers again. Drop your knees left, drop your knees right. Back and forth. Moderate pace or just a very slow pace. Get that air moving through. The lungs are open here. Take deep breaths into that. Okay, when your knees fall to the left side, drop them to the left and just hang there, and then drop your head, chin over to your left shoulder as well. Arms are heavy. They're reaching out to a T position, straight up from the shoulders or above. And turn your head to the left and just try to hold there. Now think about your right shoulder and try to drop that down as best as you can. And then we're just going to add a little bit more awareness here by taking that left hand, bending into the left elbow, taking the left hand onto the right shoulder and press gently into that right shoulder and just keep breathing. So where your hand is, right on top of the shoulder, Just think about breathing into that space. Try to sink, try to breathe, try to relax. And then letting that go. Okay, we're going to the other side. Drop your knees to the right side, and your head will also fall to the right. So chin pulling towards, or just drawing, pointing towards your right shoulder. And just thinking about your left shoulder now, and try to relax that whole left arm. Breathe into the belly. When you're ready, you can bend into that right arm here, hand on top of the left shoulder. Notice if one side feels different than the other. When you're in this position, one shoulder feels achier than the other, more flexible, or in your hips. And just bring that awareness to your body at this point. Try to work with what you got. And then very slowly unwinding. So letting the arm fall away and letting your knees come back to center. You just take, we'll take some belly breaths here. So go ahead and bring your hands onto your belly or your hips. And just taking, finding a neutral spine. So you should have a neutral spine if your knees are bent, your feet are flat to the floor. And we'll take some belly breaths in. Take a deep breath in. Feel your hands rise. So you should feel your hands rise. You should feel your hands separate. And then on your exhale, you'll feel your hands pull together and pull down. And then you may feel the sensation of your low back dropping into the floor. Maybe your upper back. So just kind of that sinking feeling through the back body, just dropping in and finding more of a neutral alignment. Again, just breathing deep, and you're feeling your hands rise. Maybe you're feeling your rib cage expand out as well. And pull together. One more. Deep breath in. Long, smooth, deep breath out. And when you are ready, you can go to Shavasana. You can straighten one leg at a time. You can stay here with those belly breaths, your knees bent, as long as you would like to stay. If you feel like straightening your legs feels achy on your low back, you can keep your knees bent, or take put a bolster underneath your knees, or blocks underneath your knees, or rolled up towel, just to kind of help elevate the legs a little bit more, and that'll send your tailbone more into a neutral position. So when getting started in Shavasana, get comfortable wherever you're at. Maybe you'd like a seated position for the duration of this part. We are moving more into some deep cleansing breaths. So we're taking as big a deep breath in as you can. You're filling your lungs, you're filling your belly, rib cage, low back, as much air as you can take in, basically, and then taking a long breath out through the mouth. Make sure you're breathing out through the mouth and just kind of sigh it out. So a nice long sigh, completely emptying all the air before you take your next breath in. So we'll do 3 of those cleansing breaths, and do them at your own time. As you are breathing out, just start to sink through the shoulders. So your shoulders pull and drop back. Maybe a few more centimeters, and then letting your hips fall open, letting your feet fall open to the sides. So grounding through the back body here. So we begin to relax through the heels, calves, backs of knees, backs of thighs, glutes, and
low back, mid, upper back, shoulder blades. And the backs of arms sink down, back of head. So think of all those grounding points. Just keep sinking down further into it. Grounding it through the mat, grounding into the earth. Okay, and then through the through the front body, as we just opened a lot of the front body tonight. Think about the toes, relaxing. The tops of the feet, the shins, the knees, kneecaps, the fronts of the thighs, letting the quadriceps, all the muscles go in your legs. Opening hips and sides of hips. Bring your attention to your belly. Notice that gentle expansion, that wave of lift and fall with your exhale. Notice your floating rib cage. Gently expanding, gently contracting with your inhales and exhales. Inner arms, forearms, biceps, tops of shoulders. Just soften your throat, sides of neck. And completely relaxing the jaw. All around the mouth, the temples, the muscles around your eyes. Let your eyelids feel heavy. And feel space across your forehead, like all the lines are smoothing out. And to feel lightness through the hairline, and feel even lighter right through the top of the head. So your whole front body open, receptive, watching as the air moves in, with every inhale, watching as it moves out. Just continue on that breath. Three more deep breaths in, deep breaths out here. And you get to slowly reawaken. Just starting with the fingers, starting with the toes, to move around, testing the air out around you. Gradually moving around in your wrists, in ankles. Rocking the head from side to side, yawning. Sticking the tongue out for the lion's breath. And begin moving into the larger joints here, into the hips, into the shoulders. Morning stretch always feels good. To wake up from Shavasana just kind of brings the energy back into the body. And same with some windshield wipers again. Taking some deep breaths in, allowing some sound to come through. From there, you're rolling or rocking over onto your right. And making your way up to seated. and continuing on maybe a meditation practice, maybe some more neck stretches if that's in practice, whatever you would like to do at this point. I'm going to sign off, so namaste, and thanks for joining me on this Monday. And thanks for watching, and like this video if you like it, and share it if you like it even more, and check me out on YouTube. I have all my videos uploaded on there, but it's under Melissa Shippey, so it's not under Live Elements Yoga. But all my videos that are on Facebook are there. So yeah, join me on Wednesday if you want to work out and like to get your heart rate up there for HIIT Core Yoga. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on next Monday for Vinyasa Flow Yoga. Cheers, have a good week everyone. Bye.